This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
This is my idol. You're gonna acknowledge me.
Guys and girls, welcome back to another edition of the SmackDown Review right here on the WWE Podcast. As always, I'm one of the hosts of the show here, Michael Ritter. You can find me on Twitter at Michael5Ritter and on Instagram at MichaelRitter5. Also the host of the Football Function Podcast, available on all of your podcasting platforms, including the one that you're listening to this show on, and even available on Patreon if you prefer an ad-free experience. But joining me on today's episode, the normal co-host here with me, John at Big Speaker on Twitter. That's BIGG_speaker. John, how you doing, bud? This was a damn good episode of SmackDown. I know you feel the same, but with all that being said, I mean, it's been a week. A lot's happened since we talked, but how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Appreciate the shout out and everything like that. And like you said, man, it has been a full Friday to Friday good week for me. You know, I mean, of course, I'm pretty sure you had like a lot more highs than me just being at WrestleMania, you know, live and everything. So, yeah, man, I guarantee you had a exciting week yourself. But other than that, man, yeah, like you said, the show tonight, it was freaking great from start to finish. So, yeah, I'm here for it.
I mean, sometimes we talk about an episode of SmackDown and it's not noteworthy. You know, there's not a whole lot you can take from it. Yeah, there's some good matches, some storyline development. You know, there's some things that we're eager to hop on here and talk about, but there's not always just like thing after thing after thing. Like this episode actually felt like a Raw After-Mania. You know, like how previously on Monday Night Raw, it really wasn't that juicy of an episode. But this episode of SmackDown, I feel like really delivered. And we got the debuts. Not necessarily that many returns or anything like that, but we definitely got some new faces show up, and we're definitely going to talk about that as we get into the episode. But before we do that, I mean, you kind of mentioned it. I went to WrestleMania. So I want to kind of talk about it. You know, I haven't gotten a chance to talk about that. And really quickly here, before we even get any further, number one, it feels good to just be sitting here and feeling good. You know, last week, obviously, I was throwing up before the show, threw up during the show, and John had to finish, and it was just it was a weird experience, especially the night before you're leaving for WrestleMania. But everything worked out. I mean, the trip was fun. But, I mean, WrestleMania itself, I mean, I wish I could cuss just so I can kind of do it justice to tell you how crazy of a time it was. I mean, just being there with that many people. I mean, that many wrestling fans. Even Ashley, I mean, she went with me. She was like, damn, you know, she's like, word for word, what she said was, I love the wrestling community. Like, just because everybody there wearing their shirts. You know, you see random people walk by. You know, they're wearing an RVD shirt. Somebody's wearing a Triple H shirt. Somebody's wearing a John Cena shirt. You know, and then obviously all the wrestlers of today. But it's just crazy. You know, you never really, I mean, there's so many different versions of fans, but they're all together. I mean, 78,000 people. And number one, I will say, before this year, I was very much on the other side as far as like the WrestleMania 2-night event versus 1-night event. I was very much so on the side as WrestleMania should be a 1-night event. Like, it's like the Super Bowl. You know, you don't split up the Super Bowl in 2 nights. It's more special when it's 1 night. But being there and experiencing it, it's incredible, dude. Like, 2 nights is perfect because you get that second night. I mean, it's just double. You know, it felt like 2 events. And, I mean, WWE, obviously, they make double the money. You know, that's the thing. Like, the only way to equal doing 2 nights is to double the price for 1 night, just the ticket price. So they're not going to do that, obviously, but it's just, it makes so much more sense to do 2 nights. You get to load up the card like that, and it's genius, honestly. And I'm officially on the WrestleMania needs to be 2 nights going forward, and I hope that that's what it is. But besides that, just being there surrounded by everybody, like I was saying, the 78,000, I mean, it's the closest thing to like being a little kid that I felt. I mean, it literally felt like I was at like an end of school party, you know, in the last week of school, whether it's like the last day, the last couple days, where it's like a pizza party, or I mean, it's close to the summer, so every now and then they'll take you like to the park or like a public pool, and you could have like a picnic and all that stuff with all your friends. Sometimes you go like to an amusement park or something. I don't know how they did it in your school, obviously, you know, where you're from, but pretty much, I mean, the end of the school was always the time to get excited for, and or the end of the school year was always the time to get excited for, and that's kind of what it felt like being at WrestleMania, just because everybody there was excited. You know, everybody there, it felt like this was like a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I know it felt like that for me, especially night one, seeing Stone Cold Steve Austin come out, like, because it was one of those unexpected pops. Like, that's the thing. I mean, obviously we knew the pop was coming, but we didn't know when he was coming out. Like, I was literally in the process of, like, you know, texting someone back saying, like, holy, you know what, are you watching this? I was getting my phone out to record, and all of a sudden the glass breaks, and I'm just getting my phone out to record everybody's reactions, get, you know, him coming out. And then if you were joining us on Discord, then you could kind of see that we were showing his ATV. We knew that was going to happen, you know, so there was all that good stuff to be excited about. And then obviously night two, we're very biased here on the show. I was wearing a Pat McAfee shirt for night two of WrestleMania. So I was very much so looking forward to watching that match. I feel like the match itself delivered. I was extremely happy with the result. After the match, that's a whole nother different thing. I mean, did it need to happen? No, not necessarily, but it did. I mean, if you were there in the building, I mean, yeah, you knew the stunner was absolute, you know what show. But that's really the only part of it that I, you know, didn't like. I mean, I liked Stone Cold coming out. I liked him stunning Pat. I liked him stunning Austin Theory. Drinking beer, trying to give us that old school moment. Vince just couldn't handle that stunner. And it's like Pat said, everybody talks about the stunner, but nobody talks about that kick to the midsection. I think that that gets people every now and then, especially whenever Stone Cold's feeling it like that. But all in all, WrestleMania, I mean, WrestleMania 38 officially jumped up into the top 5, maybe even top 3 WrestleManias in my opinion. And I know it's a little bit of like prisoner of the moment, a little bit biased that it was the only WrestleMania I've ever been to. But it didn't surpass WrestleMania 20. It didn't surpass WrestleMania 21. WrestleMania 31 is still pretty high on my list as well. But I got to say, WrestleMania 38, it's up there, man. It's definitely special in the old heart, you know. And definitely looking forward to watching it back on Peacock or WWE Network, whatever. But what were your thoughts on WrestleMania?
Man, this was great. I mean, for me to be like actually fully engaged with this and like following everything, it was just so unreal, I guess you could say, just because like, man, I saw like so many faces that when I was actually watching like from back then, like to reappear, it just kind of felt like home, I guess you could say, if that kind of makes sense. But I don't know, dude. I mean, just to be involved with it now, I mean, it just means so much more to me, you know. And like from here on out, I mean, I guess just like following with it. I mean, I don't know. I'm just so much more engaged, I guess you could say. So I mean, yeah, it was great. I mean, the 2 nights, like you said, yeah, they had so much stuff that was like Saturday jam-packed, Sunday jam-packed. So, I mean, it was just start to finish. I don't care if there was a break or not, you know. Yeah, it was just great.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the right way to do it, being a part of it and actually going to the 2 nights. I can confirm it's not too much. I mean, and I didn't go to the SmackDown before that or the Raw after. I just simply went to the 2 nights of Mania. So if you only do that, you'll be able to digest it. It's not too much, but man, you better prepare for that traffic. I know there's some other, you know, some of the listeners, they joined. I mean, I was literally sitting there, you know, obviously whenever you're sitting in traffic bumper to bumper, you got a bunch of pedestrians walking around. There's not a whole lot of, you know, just reasons to get excited. You know, it's late as hell, you know, but I was like, man, I would be the only person to sit here at WrestleMania and be surprised that there's traffic. Like literally 78,000 people. I'm like, are you kidding me? What's going on here? Like, obviously there's going to be traffic. It's freaking WrestleMania, for crying out loud. But yeah, that's the only thing you got to prepare for is the shoulder to shoulder trying to get to your seats. Once the show's going on, you got to go get something to drink, got to go take a piss or something. Very easy to do. But getting in, getting out, yeah. It's an experience for sure. But all in all, I would recommend it, dude, for sure. I'm already looking into, I mean, WrestleMania is definitely doable. Like, some listeners know, if you've listened for, you know, past couple years, I go to Falcons games, sometimes 2 to 3 a year. WrestleMania is literally, like, as far as price goes, it's equivalent to going to one Falcons game. Like, it really is. So it's definitely doable. Like, if I wanted to, realistically, as long as I'm like a single, or not single, but, not married person with no kids, I could probably go to WrestleMania every year if I wanted to. Like, that's what I'm saying, though, it's doable. Like, if you're out there, if you're a listener and you think, man, I'll never be able to go to WrestleMania, it's a little bit more possible than you think. I'll just go ahead and say that. With the way Airbnbs work these days, if you get your flight early in advance, like if you really, really plan it and you know what you're going to do, flights, you'd be surprised how cheap you could find a plane ticket. And then obviously, just like WrestleMania, you don't need to get a floor seat that's going to be thousands of dollars. I mean, my tickets themselves, I paid for 2 people for both nights. In total, it was like $260, something like that, like legitimately so. Definitely opportunities to go to WrestleMania if you really want to. Like I said, I've already been to a Royal Rumble in San Antonio a few years back when Randy Orton won. But I'm definitely going to be going to another Royal Rumble in the coming years for sure.
Okay.
But that was a long-winded open. They're already 10 minutes here in the show. But it's WrestleMania season. I wanted to give my thoughts on all that stuff, boots on the ground. I'm sure a couple listeners probably were looking forward to that. And obviously talk about how I was throwing my guts up last week and I'm feeling good right now. So I wanted to touch base on that. But with all that being said, we can go ahead and get into the SmackDown that aired on April 8th, 2022 from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Like we said, jam-packed episode here. Noteworthy things. Some pretty good matches. We figure out what's going on as far as like Roman Reigns and like what the Bloodline's plans are going forward. They are not finished. They are not content or complacent, I guess you could say, with where they are in WWE and all the gold that they have. And we're definitely going to get into that. It's the main event. But we get some debuts from NXT, and I'm looking forward to introducing and talking to you about a few of those because I know you're not familiar. But let's go ahead and get into the opening of the show, and that's Ronda Rousey. She comes out, Kayla Braxton's in the ring, and they go to the Jumbotron. They start to highlight the point in the WrestleMania match where Charlotte actually tapped out, but the referee was unconscious, so obviously it doesn't count. And Ronda Rousey said that she beat Charlotte Flair once, but she didn't beat her twice. She's basically just saying, I made her tap, so technically I beat her, but I needed to do it again, and I couldn't do it. Basically, she made her tap, but not whenever it counted. So Caleb Braxton asks her what's next, and that's whenever Ronda Rousey says that she wants a rematch, but this time in an I Quit match. Have you been able to watch an I Quit match here in your second stint as a WWE fan?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, Jey Uso and Roman Reigns had an I Quit match, I believe, right, in the steel cage?
Yeah. That was the, what was it, steel cage or Hell in a Cell?
Hell in a Cell.
Yeah,
Hell in a Cell, that's right. I knew it was a cage match for sure, some type of, gimmick match. But either way.
That one was pretty crazy, though, for sure.
After she challenges her, the crowd go crazy. That's what they want to see for sure. Charlotte does appear on the Jumbotron, and she kind of just laughs it off. She tells her that she couldn't even beat her in checkers, much less an I Quit match. And basically just says no. She tells Ronda Rousey to get to the back of the line, beep. And I'm sure that if you watched, you knew what she said. The crowd went crazy, but Ronda Rousey definitely isn't going away. She actually appeared later on in the show, bugging Adam Pearce about it. He confirmed that the match has not been made official yet, but they're just trying to make us wait a little bit. They're trying to tease us a little bit, but we all know this match is going to happen.
For sure. I mean, I wasn't too mad about this, just because, like, what's going on with it. But I would say I know everybody knows that I'm not on Ronda's side about any of this. But she did come outside, or not outside, but to the ring looking like a little bit top-notch to me right there. So I give her that.
The way the hair was, she was wearing the jeggings, the jeans and the leggings.
I want to say it was more of like the hair.
Combat boots.
Braided up and stuff like that. More, I don't know. Don't look at me weird for it. But, yeah, she definitely impressed me on that. But, I don't know, man. Charlotte, she definitely got her, bro. I mean, she definitely gets under her skin, like, easily. It seems, So, I mean, I'm here for this.
And this is important for Charlotte. I mean, look at Holly Holm. She literally looks like a splitting image, whatever, of Charlotte Flair. Do you know who Holly Holm is? She's a UFC fighter. She's like the one who humbled Ronda Rousey by beating the hell out of her, knocked her out or whatever, like that spinning heel kick. Maybe made her tap. I'm not really sure exactly what happened. She might have not. I'm not a huge UFC fan. I do know who Holly Holm is, though.
Yeah.
But basically, her and Charlotte Flair, if you put them next to each other, they're not too different in terms of like their image.
Gotcha.
But basically, I want to see Ronda Rousey like overcome this type of thing. Like she lost, right? She lost to WrestleMania, the grandest stage of them all. She's already lost before at WrestleMania, but I want to see her, overcome the adversity because that's kind of the knock on her, right? Every time something happens, she runs away. She goes and she hides and then she comes back. That's why you don't like her is because of the way she left UFC. Yeah. So, I mean, this is her chance to maybe redeem herself a little bit, maybe, put herself in a little bit better light in some fans' eyes. But I agree with you. Charlotte Flair is definitely winning this in terms of, on the mic. We'll see what happens going into WrestleMania Backlash, but you could expect an I Quit match to definitely be one of the bigger big-ticket items.
I was going to say, that baddest woman on the planet, that's definitely a myth in my eyes.
Yeah.
Charlotte hit the point on that.
I think they need to maybe take that shirt off the shelves there for sure. I went to a pretty huge superstore in Dallas. I've showed you some pictures of it. It was crazy. If you went to WrestleMania, it's like that superstore access or whatever. They have like a bunch of different types of things you can do. Like I got to hold a WWE mic and sit up there like in the KO show. That was freaking awesome. You got to build your entrance if you actually wanted to do that. Like you got to like come out of like it's like a stage they use for a WWE live event. It's like it's got a huge LED screen. Like you come out, there's like a ramp and all that stuff. You can come out to like Triple H, Edge, Roman Reigns, anybody's song that you want. I saw Ric Flair. People were just doing it, just fans. They were coming out there. It was pretty entertaining. People were getting crunk. I actually wanted to do it, obviously.
I was going to say, you should have did that Edge one.
I wanted to see. That's what Ashley was saying, but I wanted to do Triple H. I did, because I got Triple H's entrance down. Yeah, Edge, he comes out. He gets pretty crazy, and I know all that good stuff. But Triple H, man, I'll come out with a water bottle. I'll get the hair down. No, it'll be fun. Like I said, I've had a little bit of practice doing that one. But anyway. We can go ahead and move on to another match here. Butch makes his debut on SmackDown against Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods comes out dressed, in his typical New Day stuff. This kind of was the sign for me that they're done with the King Woods gimmick. Like he came out a few weeks ago with the crown. It looks like because he said himself that WrestleMania is like a season finale, so this is like the season opener. He wants to turn the page a little bit, maybe a fresh start. As much of a fresh start as you can get in the New Day. Obviously, they've been doing like the same thing since like 2014. So as much of a fresh start as you can get here. And that's kind of, what he does. He comes out and he gets a one-on-one match with Butch. He cuts a nice little promo before the match. He says that he I forgot exactly word for word what he says, but he does mention that Butch, or he refers to Butch as rabies infested ass. And that part got me. It did. It was funny, and I just feel like there's promos like that, like whenever they're not necessarily trying to be funny, they can just naturally do that while trying to roast you. And I feel like Xavier Woods is one of the best at doing that. R-Truth is another version, but he's more so just like 100% comedy. But anyways, Xavier Woods does get the win here. He beats Butch in Butch's first match on SmackDown with a small package, but there was actually some pretty good commentary here by Pat McAfee. I'm not sure if you caught this part. He said that that's not the small package, that's the backwoods. Basically just calling it, a quick roll-up. Pretty much just saying, like, because Xavier Woods, obviously just a play on words, backwoods, quick roll-up. It's a little funny, It's just
I
something.
didn't catch that.
Yeah, Pat McAfee said that on the broadcast. It was funny, and Xavier Woods actually quoted it on Twitter, and he's actually going to start calling it that. So it's kind of like he got a move out of it. You know? I mean, it's pretty cool. Just I wrote it down here that I like that. But after this match, Butch actually goes after Sheamus and Ridge Holland. Like, I mean, it's not like he legitimately took some shots at Rich. Like, I thought they were about to start going at it. It looked like everything like a turn. Like, they were splitting up, but it just like, they were like, hey, calm down, just kind of, patting him on the back. I mean, what do you think about this? I mean, you don't really have to comment on the match if you want. Obviously, it was a pretty quick, easy win. The roll-up or the backwoods, I guess is what you can call it now, is a way to protect Butch because it was just, a fluke win. But after the match, the way that Butch is kind of portrayed as like this uncontrollable dude, what do you think about this?
Well, I mean, I can't really take too much from it just because, he's just new to me, I mean, I know you say that you know him like Pete Dunne and everything like that, but, I mean, like, these factions, I mean, they're just starting to, kind of come together, so I kind of see, I just see it, staying together. I don't see it like a split or anything like that. Of course, kind of, build his composure in a way, I guess that's what Sheamus is doing, having two under his wing and stuff like that, because, I mean, obviously both these guys, they have a lot of work to do. I mean, Butch, he's definitely a freaking brawler. You know,
Yeah.
there's no denying that. This
He's a
dude has some
bruiserweight.
freaking nasty forearms. You know, so I definitely wouldn't want to take any of those. But on the other hand, you know, got Ridge Holland. Yeah, and he's over here just looking like a freaking doofus. So I mean, I don't know, man. I kind of want them to like stay together and stuff like that. I don't, like I said, didn't take too much from like the aftermath, you know, of his loss and everything like that. I mean, kind of expected, you know, especially with him because a little hothead, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, somebody's got to kind of like coach that, I guess
Yeah,
you're saying.
and
That's
Sheamus is a good one.
that's what Sheamus again. I mean, you know, I see for him stuff like that. So yeah, definitely a good thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. But anyways, we can go ahead and move on here to something that happened pretty funny, or at least I thought it was pretty funny. Sami Zayn backstage. He's talking about, you know, with Adam Pearce saying, yeah, I thought it wasn't any. He kind of protects himself a little bit here. He says that he's pissed off because he thought it was an anything goes match, not a anybody can join match or just anybody can hop in. I mean, obviously, if you watch the match, Wee Man got involved, Chris Pontius got involved, a lot of the other newer Jackass guys eventually hopped in. It was not a one-on-one match, but I mean, it wasn't supposed to be, obviously. I mean, it was a entertaining match if that's the type of stuff you like. But anyways, they're standing outside the men's locker room. He's complaining to Adam Pearce, and he basically just says, I want a match. I want to redeem myself for what happened. So the next person that walks out of that door, I'm getting a one-on-one match with them. And they're kind of just standing there, and Adam Pearce is willing. He says, all right, the next guy who walks out of here, you'll get a one-on-one match with him. And the next person who walks out of there ends up being Drew McIntyre, who doesn't really know. He just walks out. He sees two guys standing there. He's like, what's up, lads? And just walks away. Has no idea he's about to have a match. And obviously that match does get booked, and we will get that a little bit later in the show. But continuing on here, Ludwig Kaiser. He's one of the members of Imperium. He comes out and he introduces Gunther. Gunther, formerly known as Walter, and I actually thought it was Gunther to this point, but I heard multiple people, including Pat, Michael Cole, Caleb Braxton, everybody was calling him Gunther. So I'm gonna do right by him, and that's what I'm gonna pronounce it. Obviously, I mean, I don't want him to walk in here and pick me up and throw me across the room. So I'm gonna call him exactly what he's supposed to be called. He squashes this dude. He gets a squash match against Joe Alonzo. Lasts the whole 3-4 minutes. Could have been over in one. He gets his signature chops in. What'd you think about this dude just at first glance?
Well, at first glance, this dude is a freaking. Let's freaking match him up with Omos right off the top. That was what my thinking was, Commander Z type stuff. But, I mean, that was just a massive dude.
He'll fold Omos into a pretzel, dude.
It was freaking crazy just seeing him coming out, especially like no facial expression, bro, just like straight face type stuff. I was like, gosh dang, but I don't know, man. He definitely handled that little guy.
Dude, honestly, just being completely honest, I didn't expect him to come up to the main roster. I did not expect that to happen. He's an NXT UK guy. That's the thing when you notice when he gets on the mic, you'll know he has an accent.
Yeah.
He's not from America, so that's one thing that kind of caught my eye whenever we heard Imperium was going to debut on SmackDown. We kind of was floated around in the Discord chat. If you look on the internet, it was nowhere. I mean, it wasn't being hidden or anything like that. So, kind of knew he was coming, but whenever he showed up, I was like, well, here we go. When there's smoke, there's fire, and sure enough, he came out, and I'm looking forward to getting him on SmackDown because I really haven't gotten a chance to watch him that much. Very familiar with who he is. I know how big of a threat he is, especially in the NXT UK world. Coming here to the main roster, it's tough, dude. When you're an NXT call-up, they change your name, they change your gimmick, everything. The only person that I can remember that they haven't absolutely butchered, or at least, giving them a complete facelift coming up from NXT to the main roster is Bianca Belair. And I don't think it's any coincidence why she's a back-to-back WrestleMania main event winner. You can say what you want main event. I mean, you fight for a main title. You're basically in one of the main pictures. So, whatever. She's victorious at WrestleMania 2 years in a row, 2-0. Being that same character that she was in NXT. Yeah, it's been said she's one of the best NXT call-ups of all time, but look at it give other people these opportunities, give them chances. Like Kevin Owens, he was Kevin Owens on NXT, came up to the roster, or the main roster, basically the exact same person, and he has success. I feel like it's the people that they try to start fresh, they try to give them a fresh coat of paint. It never really works out for them. I don't know why, but WWE keeps trying to do that, and, there's another name coming up here that we're going to talk about in just a little bit, but hopefully Gunther, sorry, it's already going to mess with me a little bit, but I'm going to do my best. But hopefully he can get off to the right track, and I think they will. I mean, he's a hard one to mess up. If you mess up him, I really don't know what to tell you. But yeah, that's definitely somebody who's believable in terms of somebody who can be in the ring with Roman Reigns and actually be a threat. That's legit. I mean, they're both heels, so you won't see that matchup anytime soon. But it's somebody that we have on the roster now, to say the least, who's believable.
Right. Yeah, I could definitely see that. I didn't really put too much thinking into it just because new face and stuff like that. Yeah. But that'd be a freaking hell of a match right there.
Yeah, and you really weren't familiar with his backstory. You just see some giant dude. You see Commander Aziz. You see Omos. You really don't think, hey, this dude can actually be a top belt contender just because he's a huge dude. I'm here to tell you, Walter is not cut from the same cloth as them. He's a different type of dude. I know he's big. He's not Vince McMahon's ideal type of body type for a top champion. That could end up hurting him on the main roster. We've seen Vince do that. I mean, Finn Balor is not necessarily that same type. He absolutely thrived in NXT, came up to the main roster. Hasn't necessarily, thrived at that peak, sorry. I'm sure you guys heard that. There's a little bit of, vehicles going on outside the window. But anyways, we're back on track here. Finn Balor, despite being such a badass NXT worker, NXT wrestler, hasn't necessarily broken through on the main roster on a consistent basis. So hopefully we don't see this happen to Walter. I feel like he's a hell of a wrestler and a hell of a guy to have on SmackDown, and definitely looking forward to getting more of him. But moving on here, Raquel Rodriguez was introduced, formerly Raquel Gonzalez. Small tweak, small little change there. Not really sure why. I guess it's just some obsessant thing that they have with just giving them a little bit of tweak. They can't just, leave them exactly the same. But what'd you think about this? Pretty big girl, pretty strong. She's actually Braun Strowman's girlfriend in real life. Just to give you a little bit of nugget there before you find out in 2 days and come at me saying, why the hell didn't you tell me this? But there you go. Just wanted to toss it to you there. What'd you think about her?
Well, that is definitely mind-blowing, let me say that. But she's freaking just tall as hell, man. I saw her. She was damn near eye to eye with freaking Los Lotharios. So, I mean, she was definitely a surprise to me. Caleb Braxton holding the microphone too dang low for her to speak into. I don't know, man. Yeah. I mean, there's just all these new faces just kind of giving more life, So it's interesting, I can't say, oh, this is going to be bad or anything like that, because there's all kinds of stuff that's going on, there's throwing up weird stuff all here and there. So I'm cool with it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it legitimately feels like a new season, It legitimately feels like a new year. This is what Monday Night Raw After-Mania was needing. I completely understand why people were upset with how that Raw ended up. This SmackDown legitimately felt like big news, big stuff was happening, man. And it was pretty cool to watch, especially, knowing that we were going to get to hop on here and talk about it immediately after it was over. But we can go ahead and move on a little bit. And it's time to get serious, all right? It's time to show some respect here to Happy Corbin.
Thank you. I've been saying this.
It's the, what's it called? The saddest happy talk of all time. And he blames Madcap for his loss. I mean, what else is he going to do? He blames Madcap. He says, you're the one that's basically been holding me back. My luck started to turn around, or I guess go back to being bad luck whenever you started coming around. And he basically tells Madcap to tell a joke. And he says that his job is going to depend on it. So Madcap obviously tells a joke where Baron Corbin or Happy Corbin is the punchline. And Corbin attacks him from behind, and then the two begin to brawl. What'd you think about this?
Well, I mean, this is something that I've been expecting.
You've been waiting for it.
Oh, yeah, man. I felt like I kind of called this, I don't know, man. I was just ready for all this to happen a long time ago. And I kind of feel, I feel bad for Madcap still in a way, because I Corbin blaming him for this loss and everything like this, but the whole time before this, Madcap was the one that was actually taking all the beatings from Drew, in the matches and stuff like that, while Corbin was always running away and stuff, So, I mean, yeah, Madcap, Corbin deserves this little turn on him, actually, getting beat up, getting dang near put out the ring, So I'm cool. I'm all for this.
Yeah, I definitely think it's time. You know, we've seen these two go at it back and forth. It's time that we see them feud with each other and we get Drew McIntyre on to bigger and better things. But speaking of Drew McIntyre, he has a one-on-one match here with Sami Zayn. What'd you think about this one?
Well, I mean, this one was kind of disappointing, you know, because like you said earlier, the one that they had that little backstage thing, Sami was wanting to like get his respect back because he felt like he was like the laughing stock of the WWE now, and he kind of made himself seem that way, you know, like how you just run away, you know. I mean, of course, like you said, Drew McIntyre, he's like one of the top notch guys on the roster, in the locker room and stuff like that, but you can't just run away to get your dignity back, to get any type of respect back. You know, they basically just, you know, we're Pat McAfee on calling you a rat. You know, you're basically getting chased out of here. Yeah, so I don't know, man. This one was kind of a disappointment for me.
I completely understand why. I mean, running away, even the facial expression he had, just wasn't necessarily for me. And honestly, I expected bigger things for Drew, but who knows? They can still come. I don't want to be impatient. We haven't figured out exactly what Roman Reigns is going to do next, but we did get a little bit of a teaser as to who might be his next opponent, but it's not 100% sure. That could have been Rick Boogs related, but we'll get to that here in just a little bit. Up next, the story of Lacey Evans. I know you're not familiar with her. We've talked about her a couple times here on the show.
New face.
She does look a little bit different as far as like her gimmick, her look, all that stuff. She was like a proper lady. Like she had like a handkerchief put in her, you know, up top where she'd pull out during matches, wipe her sweat off, throw it on her opponent. Yeah. Okay. You need to go look up some Lacey Evans because she actually is, you know, a pretty good worker. Definitely somebody who I know that you would enjoy. You know, just things she does. She's a hell of a heel for sure. But she didn't really look like a heel tonight, especially like this promo. If you can call it a promo, I don't know. It was basically just like a story of herself. And I guess we're getting, you know, chapter 2 or like then it's going to continue next week. So we haven't even gotten all of it yet. But I mean, she kind of got choked up during it. Kind of a little bit like the female version of Cody Rhodes. She took a little page out of his notes, out of his book. But, yeah, I'm excited to see what she can bring, and I'm glad that they're finally starting to inject SmackDown with some talent, especially seeing, like, what they got going on with, like, the Edge faction, obviously what Cody Rhodes is doing. I mean, Raw has some good things going on right now, and I'm glad that we can finally, you know, be excited for some things happening on SmackDown.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I kind of hate that. I mean, of course, like, brands and stuff like that, but, I mean, it's all just starting to, like, be one type of thing now, you know. It's kind of, you have to follow this to like know what's going on this side still, you know. So it's kind of like running together, and it's good, you know, because it keeps me entertained on Tuesday night, you know. That's whenever I watch Raw and everything, and of course Friday, you know, it gives me, you know, a little bit more. And I'm kind of going in to like the NXT thing. I kind of liked how they like brought like Braun Breaker into like that NXT championship with Dolph Ziggler and everything.
That clip you showed me where they had Rick Steiner in the cage and everybody's saying like, "Hey, proud of you, son," and they zoom out. I was like, man, that's right up my alley.
I'm
just in terms of production, yeah, I really like that.
On some type of like little creative over there, you know. So they're doing some magic. So I mean, yeah, I'm just starting to like look into like other promotions and stuff like that, like. Layla Gray, I want to say, yeah, she's definitely somebody that's been catching my eye. So, yeah, definitely want to show her some stuff or show you some stuff about her. But other than that, I'm good.
Yeah, AEW Dynamite has finally taken that number 3 spot for me on a weekly, like a weekly basis, and I don't watch it every week. But if I do, I'll watch AEW over NXT, and the facial expression you gave me, I almost wish I wouldn't have told you that. But
okay.
Anyways, we can move on to the last match here on the show. Sasha Banks versus Liv Morgan. Now, Liv cuts a pre-match promo. She's, you know, backstage. The announcer asked her, like, a weird question. She has a weird response. She sounded like a robot. Like, it was weird. I've never seen Liv sound like this. Did you notice that?
Oh, I mean, I've kind of noticed, like, her speaking is kind of like it's like rehearsed, you know, like she does this like multiple times to try to get it right, I guess you could say. So I don't know, I just kind of feel like the speaking on the mic isn't like her thing. You know, like definitely good in the ring. And
She's
stuff
never
like
been a
that.
great promo, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I just kind of feel like she like sits there and tries to do this like over and over. You know, and I don't know. It just doesn't feel like natural.
Yeah, I mean, this one just was weird. I mean, just not only the delivery, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she kind of talked about it. She said Rhea Ripley isn't here, but you know, she's getting ready. We have a match against these two,
Mm-hmm.
you know, Sasha Banks and Naomi on Monday night for the Raw Tag Team Championships. But man, Liv, I feel sorry for you because you're about to get riptide. You're about to get probably a big boot, probably, you know, beat down pretty good. Whenever teams split, whenever somebody turns heel and they turn on you, especially, you know, we're all expecting Rhea Ripley to join Edge's faction. Because that's one thing I noticed. Somebody posted a picture of it online. If you go back and you look at that backstage segment last week on Raw, whenever Rhea Ripley and Liv were talking backstage, and you know, Liv kind of confronts her and she says, "You know what the hell's going on?" And Rhea says, "I got us a tag team match." Yada yada yada. While Rhea was standing there, there's purple lights in the background, like kind of just shining there. That's kind of like foreshadowing, or maybe like giving you a hint, like, dude, she's going to join Edge's faction, you know, and next week, who knows? If we see Edge and Damian Priest just like appear on the stage during the match, you know, like if they have their tag team match, I'm calling it here. Here we are. It's April 8th on Friday. This hasn't happened yet. It's going to, because I don't know, because Damian Priest appeared on just ringside, right? On the outside of the ring.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's going to happen on the ring or outside the ring, sorry, or on the stage. But during this tag team match, we're going to get Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. You know, they're going to be, you know, probably getting hot or something like that. They're going to have momentum. And Edge and or Damian Priest is just going to show up standing there. It's going to distract Liv. And she's going to end up getting hit by Sasha or Naomi. Or, you know, she's going to get taken out somehow. And Rhea Ripley's not going to help her. It's going to kind of show her she's going to look like she's distracted or something like that. Or like she's just, you know, like in a trance. Kind of just like focused in, you know, on Edge or Damian Priest or whoever, and you know, maybe have that, you know, evil grin, you know, that evil smile after the match. After Liv gets pinned, she'll walk away and be that official third member of this stable.
Well, I mean, that's definitely pretty interesting. I know we had talked about it like off air and everything like that, but I don't know, dude. I can definitely like see that like playing out like while you're talking about it and everything. And I mean, she definitely like fits them, you know. So I kind of see that, but I don't know. I just like seeing like the mixture of like male and female type thing. That's kind of like the off thing for me. I mean, I know it's like possible and stuff like that, but
Yeah,
what are you looking at me?
It's not like it's never worked in the past.
I know. Gosh,
China never been in DX or anything like that.
But I mean, I don't know. I kind of see. I don't know for that third person. I mean, but Rhea, I mean, I kind of see like, yeah, definitely like the split, kind of maybe going for like the women's championship and stuff like that. I mean, I think she's like a top notch performer and everything.
Oh my gosh, holy! You know what? I just kind of pictured it in my head. We got a babyface champion on Monday Night Raw with Bianca Belair. Mm-hmm. Could you imagine a program going into like SummerSlam or whatever with Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair? But Rhea Ripley is this heel in that faction, because that's the thing is like, I know it might not be common, you know, it might not. I mean, I know China is a good example of like a woman in a faction that has worked, but we've seen things like this happen in the past, and you know what hasn't worked. You know, Zelina Vega had a little bit of a faction. She wasn't a wrestler or anything like that, but groups come together and they fall apart with no explanation. So it's very fair to expect this to happen. But I will say, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt because Edge is the leader here, and he has a lot of pull. He has a lot of history, you know, obviously, as far as, like, having success. He's been in groups like Rated RKO. What the hell was the tag team? Or whenever he had, like, Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. I know you don't know him, but they're, like, the Edge heads or whatever they were. He had, like, two goons or whatever. I mean, he's been known to, you know, succeed in multiple different, you know, versions of himself. Yeah. What is it, The Brood? That's another version of him, you know, another one. I know I'm kind of getting a little bit historic on you, but basically this is what I'm trying to say, long-winded. Edge is somebody that I would trust, you know, given the keys to some type of stable with some young talent.
I mean, it's interesting because, like, it kind of throws my head into a loop on, like, who that third person could be, you know, because, like, like thinking about it, like right now, I can't like just, oh yeah, that person belongs there and stuff like that. Rhea Ripley, like you said, like, yeah, I could see that and stuff, but yeah, maybe bigger plans for her. Bigger plans.
Maybe Nikki ASH.
Oh, what?
I'm just kidding.
Got the TR.
But anyways, all right, let's go ahead and move on here to a pretty big main event. I mean, it wasn't a main event match, but we got some pretty big information. I mean, this is huge. We find out that we're going to unify the tag team championships. Roman Reigns is going to send, I mean, he has a promo. That's what he does. He comes out here, he cuts a promo, and he says that it's time to unify the tag team championships. He says he's going to send the Usos to Monday Night Raw to fight RK Bro to basically, you know, get all the belts and bring them to SmackDown. And I think it's going to happen. They're going to beat RK Bro on Monday night. I'm excited for that match. But, man, well, I mean, there's only going to be one tag team division, pretty much. I mean, there might be two, one on each show, but there's only going to be one set of champions, and we'll see if it's the right thing to do. Who knows? I tend to think that, you know, they know what they're doing, although their track record might not be that great. You know, I'm a fan. I'm a loyal fan, so whatever. I'll sit here and I'll be like, all right, you know, you're going to experiment with the tag team division again. So be it. I'm more concerned with what they're going to do with this, you know, unified, universal champion, whatever.
Yeah.
What it's going to look like, who he's going to fight as far as like his next opponent. And that's what I was, you know, hinting at earlier is we kind of got a little bit of a maybe tease or a little bit of a hint because Shinsuke Nakamura comes out. And I mean, I don't know if you're necessarily thinking that he belongs in that situation. I was confused whenever he came out. I was surprised. I'm a big Shinsuke fan, but I was still like, man, are we really going to get this? But that's what I was saying. It could have been Rick Boogs related, you know, because I truly think that if he wouldn't have got hurt, well, I don't know now. If they were planning on doing this unifying tag team champions, they're not going to do that with Boogs and Nakamura, you know. So, man, I don't know. This was a weird segment, though. He basically says, look, I know your partner got hurt. It sucks. But, hey, we lost Jimmy Uso for a year, you know. I mean, he'll be back. He'll be stronger than ever. But, hey, you need some love right now, right? You need some bloodline love. So he tells him to come in, gives him a hug, a nice, you know, Roman Reigns hug. And then, out of nowhere, double super kick. Shinsuke Nakamura is laying down on his stomach. He's out. Do you think Shinsuke might interfere? I mean, with their match on Monday Night Raw, maybe cost them these championships? Because, hey, if he does, if Shinsuke Nakamura costs him these championships and then RK Bro somehow gets these unified tag team championship belts, then I will double down and say the plan all along was to get him off the Usos, get the belts off the Usos before Boogs got hurt. But if they hold on to him, and if the Usos hold on to these belts and they're the unified champions, I'll concede and I'll say that the Usos should have won all along.
Okay. I mean, like, I'll follow up with that. Like I said, I've always wanted to keep the belts, you know, hand in hand. I always said that.
Day one-ish.
So, yeah, I'm definitely not going to agree with you on that part. But, I mean, if that was to happen with some type of, you know, distraction type stuff, I mean, we're about to be seeing WrestleMania Backlash, you know. I mean, that can be a definitely good build for that and stuff like that. So, I don't know, man. Maybe, I mean, Rick Boogs, he'll probably be out for a good amount of time.
Oh, he's done for a minute, man. That
yeah,
torn
Shinsuke,
quad,
he's definitely going to have to do or figure out something. So
he can go by himself.
Yeah. But, I mean, I don't know.
He's
dude.
better by himself, honestly.
There's so many ways that you can possibly, like, think about, like, how these or how it's going to go, you know, because think about it. I mean, Roman Reigns, he said it. I mean, they're going for all the gold, you know. So when he said that, bro, I basically, like, oh, yeah, this is about to happen, you know. Like, there's no other way that there's turning this, you know. So eventually, like, I think it's going to come down to that. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it would just be crazy if they were to lose it. Let me say that.
Yeah, it'd be pretty crazy. I'm not expecting it at all. If I was a betting man, I would definitely put my money on the Usos. But what do you think about Shinsuke? Do you think he's, as far as, like, the next guy for Roman Reigns at Backlash? I mean, it's not going to be Brock Lesnar. I don't know if they want to rush this soon into a program with somebody who's bigger. So do you think he might be a good, like, kind of like what Cesaro was for him last year? Kind of how he had that little program whenever Cesaro was involved. I think it might have been like May or like around Money in the Bank time. Mm-hmm. Do you think that Cesaro could have a good program with Roman just to get us to his next guy?
Cesaro?
Did I say Cesaro again?
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Shinsuke Nakamura.
Okay, I was going to say,
Well, I referenced Cesaro last year, but I might have slipped up for sure.
I got you. Yeah, I'm still on the same page with you. But just to clarify. Shinsuke, he's good, definitely good. But man, Roman's he's just too dominant right now. Like, I'd have to see that Gunther dude come out here, like you were saying earlier, to like even convince me that this guy's gonna lose. So I don't know. I mean, I think it'd be a great match, yeah, for sure. But
the promos are night and day, though. Roman would run circles around him.
That's for sure. But like, if I was to like want to go into like any like hypothetical like thinking, man, throw Drew McIntyre in there, bro. I mean, I think that would be awesome. Just two freaking, I don't know, boneheads going at each other. Basically, that's how I'd want to see it if I was like to do anything. But I mean, I don't know. I don't think Shinsuke is gonna be holding the title anytime soon. Let me say that, or contention.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it could be just a quick little, hey, we needed a guy to come out to make the Usos look strong, super kick. Everybody's on the same page. It could have been something like that, but
I mean, he definitely has to go out there and kind of, defend their name, their tag team, I guess you could say, because they didn't go out, like you said, they didn't go out the way it should have.
These are damn near uncharted waters. I know we've had like an undisputed champion before in the past and like things like that, but we've never had it like this where Roman Reigns where the person is this untouchable. You know, like you come out and like you're legitimately like, okay, what the hell is he gonna do next? What's he gonna say next? Because I don't know. Like I don't know what the next move is. That's why it's so crazy. He's keeping people tuned in. He still has everybody hooked or on that hook. We're on the reel. He's reeling us in for next week. So I'm in. I'm looking forward to this, man. It's a damn good time to be covering SmackDown as long as Roman Reigns is holding that strap or those straps.
I could definitely agree with that. I'm not opposed to that for sure. I don't know, man. It's it's good. I'm like everything that's starting to happen, man. I'm engaged for sure. But what do you think about that IC match next week?
What is it again? I saw the graphic popped up, but who's it going to be?
Jinder Mahal
versus Ricochet?
Oh yeah, well of course.
Well, I mean, hey, keep in mind, man, it's been a while. I had a lot going on, but anyways, yeah. I mean, I don't expect Ricochet to lose, but then again, who knows? I mean, he's won in like 3 in his last 4 matches, so never really know what could happen.
I just like that they're keeping it like relevant and like at least a fight like every week for and stuff like that, So I mean,
he's defending it too,
rather than like the Shinsuke way.
Whenever Shinsuke wasn't defending it in how long, and then now it's getting defended like multiple times in a month. So I could appreciate that.
Yeah, so I'm definitely like in tune with all that stuff, but I don't know, man. Ricochet needs to come out and do his thing. Maybe give another shout out to him.
Oh yeah, for sure. But that does do it for us here on the SmackDown Review. That covers everything that happened here on this big noteworthy episode. A pretty good one, I will say. If every episode was like this, I would love covering SmackDown every single week. And I already do. I was about to say, and I already do love covering SmackDown every single week. Dang it, I should throw you to the dang table for that. But anyways, I do want to thank you guys for listening, obviously. If you're a first-time listener, thank you so much for finding this podcast. And I know there are some first-time listeners. We had some record downloads here on the WWE podcast over the weekend. Obviously, you've already heard Matt talk about it, reaching that number 30 spot in the, wrestling category in America for podcasts. That's badass. It's a huge accomplishment. Matt might not pat himself on the back as much as he should for reaching that feat, but man, that's impressive. The fact that he started this podcast from the ground up and he's built it and he's put together a team of people who are committed and, they have that passion for wrestling. They look forward to doing the shows that they do and all that stuff. And it's kind of a well-oiled machine. If you're a listener and you listen to all the shows, I'm sure you look forward to it. It is like a bit of a network here. Like I listen to podcasts that are part of a network where there's multiple shows that come out on a weekly basis. And that's pretty much what we do here. So we look forward to holding up our end of the weight or our end of the thing, whatever. We look at it like a relay race. We look at it like we're the last leg. We're the anchor here and in the week. Coming in strong, and you better believe that baton is in the right hands, the hands of the Blue Brand Brawlers.
Yes, sir.
But anyway, John, you got anything to say? Any shout-outs before we sign off here?
Well, I mean, definitely want to, just recap the week and everything, man. It was great, like I said earlier in the show, just to be in tune with it and, like, following it. I mean, it just makes it, like, so much better. And man, it's freaking crazy that the numbers, that this podcast is getting. Like, I feel like I'm just sitting here just talking, you know, just me and you know, like not like reaching out to like many people. And man, I do appreciate everybody that follows and listens. It just blows my mind that it's actually like this big, you know, like, like I'm new to this, you know, so it's definitely like a big wow. So yeah, definitely shout out to Matt, man. He's definitely done his thing. Like, I'm pretty sure this has been some years coming, but yeah, this is definitely like pretty exciting, especially like to cover SmackDown, like you're saying. I don't know how you tried to say. I don't know. I'm not going to take that out of context.
I was just saying. You're
definitely getting a big boot after this. I'm going to tell you that. But I'm just saying. Just kidding. But yeah, man, I definitely want to give a shout out to like all the listeners and that SmackDown review tier on Patreon, man. It's definitely like a good bang for your little $5. And it definitely gives you like a lot of content to follow. So yeah, I mean, definitely look into that if you're Patreon. If you're not, you know, definitely look into it. I mean, if you're tired of those ads and everything like that, you want to come over and, you know, ad-free experience, you know, go ahead and subscribe. Sorry. You
can prescribe too if this is your medicine, you know, your weekly vacation, your mental vacation, all that good stuff.
Everybody got to get some type of juice, right? But yeah, definitely go ahead and subscribe, man. There's even a $1 option. It gives you like all the good benefits of the app and everything like that. So yeah, definitely want to give a shout out to y'all and shout out to Mike, man. Appreciate you for letting me have this opportunity. And yeah, I'll just wrap it up like that.
Oh yeah, I do appreciate you joining. Obviously, I think this show took a huge step forward whenever you came on board. And obviously, you know, one person here, it's a big difference. I look forward to doing the show now. It doesn't feel like you know, I mean, it's not like it felt like a job before, but now it literally, like, you know, it's like a conversation. You know, we're sitting there talking about wrestling. It's a whole different perspective. So
yeah,
I definitely enjoy it. But like, as far as joining Patreon, I mean, not only do you just, you know, you get the ad-free episodes. That's the reason why you do it, right? You don't want to listen to ads. You don't want to waste your time. So that's one reason right there to get Patreon. But number two, you get inside the Discord chat. Number one, like inside the Discord chat, you get like,
that is interesting, dude.
You get the conversations, right? You get the conversations during the pay-per-views. That's the thing. That's why you come. But why you stay is because the unexpected arguments between people that are in there, just like random conversations that happen. I mean, things get heated in the Discord chat. There's rivalries that get started. People talk about, you know, things that happen on the mailbag, all that good stuff. Speaking of the mailbag, shout out to Mr. and Mrs. Casual Wrestling Fan for doing a great job with that. I'm looking forward to podcast Backlash, finding out whether or not I was officially accepted into the casual wrestling crew. I think I know the answer, though. We'll see what happens. I know that Ric Flair comment might have made it a little bit more difficult to get approved, but we'll see what happens. But anyways, I do want to thank you guys, obviously, for choosing this podcast. Like we said, if you are a regular listener, thank you so much for making this part of your weekly routine. I hope you will continue to do so. But on that note, guys, walk passionately in the direction of your dreams. Have a damn good weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.